All right, welcome everyone to this weekend Sidereal Astrology forecast. So this weekend, essentially, we've got a lot going on. We are entering into the first quarter phase next week, which essentially means we're at the part of this whole lunar cycle, which will start to be about us challenging ourselves, probably more so next week, but it's a weekend where it starts to shift, where perhaps we want to start challenging ourselves and really see where we can integrate and perhaps take some action or set some intentions with the insights we gained last weekend, right? Last weekend we had the solar eclipse. There was a lot of clearing taking place, and from that clearing, a lot of new ideas and new things shaping up, probably more so earlier last week. So this weekend we do have Jupiter still opposing up to Uranus on Friday, which means still very good for implementing a bit of that freedom in your life, maybe feeling a bit inspired to do that, and again, create a life that's more of a reflection of what you're truly about. When we get into Saturday, Venus goes retrograde. All right, so Venus is going to go retrograde for the next few weeks. This time of now reconsidering some of our values in life, what it is we value, and even in relationships, who we value and what about relationships we value, and perhaps how we can have a bit of cooperation, working with others, a bit more of that harmonious energy in our life. So along with that, on Saturday also, Mercury is going to go over Neptune, so we're not quite out of the woodworks with all the watery energy we've been feeling, right? We've had the sun over Neptune, we've had the moon in Pisces earlier last week. So there's been a lot of this watery, dissolving kind of energy, and Mercury over Neptune will be the last of it on Saturday. And then when we get into Sunday, Mars trines up to Saturn. So very good for productive things and anything that does require responsibility and patience. All right, so there's a lot going on, but let's go ahead and break this down one by one in just a minute. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this first for Friday. So on Friday, the moon will be in Aries, just like it was on Thursday. So very good for a bit of that active energy. Maybe willing ourselves to take some action on Friday, a bit of drive, anything that requires directness. We could be very direct, in fact, very independent and want to pursue our personal needs. So all of that can be great with balance and moderation, of course, and I think through taking action or through setting goals or being direct or whatever it is, we could be feeling emotionally rooted and stable with the moon there. Now, Friday is very much like Thursday also in the sense that Jupiter is still going to be opposing up to Uranus. And so it's still an excellent day, in fact, an excellent weekend to still implement whatever this new found freedom is or this newfound inspiration. Now, it's not totally new because we've been feeling this since last year, and perhaps something shifted with it late December of last year. But we're learning, and whatever it is we've been learning or can be learning this weekend, about what does give us freedom in life, about what does inspire us, and how we can make change to cultivate more of that freedom and more of that inspiration can be excellent to integrate and sort of work with on Friday. Then as we go into Saturday, Venus does start to go retrograde. All right, so now there's this reconsideration of our values in life, right? So we'll probably feel a bit of pause here Friday, Saturday in terms of now we're starting to re-examine some Venusian things, the things essentially we value and enjoy in life. For some of us, it might be a bit more material, reconsidering things like finances or resources, maybe actually redoing those things in our life. And others, it might be more relationship related or a little bit of both. But with relationships, reconsidering them, maybe a specific one, maybe just relationships and how they play a role in your life. And again, where you can have a bit of that harmony and cooperation and connectivity, which is essentially what we want when Venus is involved. But with this step back, it's good to kind of take a step back with the resources, with the relationships, with our values, because things are shifting and over these coming weeks starting to reconsider and rethink and perhaps quite literally rework these things in our life. So speaking of all those values, the moon will be shifting into Taurus on Saturday. So emotionally, it can be great for Saturday and Sunday, in fact, to enjoy the simple life. Even though there's that reconsideration of our values, I think connecting to earth, enjoying some simple material enjoyments like a good meal or something like that, or maybe just enjoying a bit of the luxurious life. And as I always say with the moon in Taurus, being grateful for what we have. Taurus helps us see those values, and with the moon, it's very spiritual, and the connection there could be through gratitude and appreciation to help us root ourselves into what we do have in our life. So that's the moon in Taurus, and it's still watery here. Mercury conjoining up to Neptune. I think there will still be, particularly with our rational mind, a bit of that dreamy energy. Probably not as strong as Thursday when the sun was over Neptune, but still, anything that does require rational thinking gets a bit dissolved with this. Okay, so can be great for imagination, can be great for anything that does require inner intuition, and even thinking about things that are spiritual, or perhaps learning more about how we can connect to the things that our soul needs, right? That soul food, and enjoying and connecting to that. And so insight can certainly, come from this, but it's very important to go within for the insight versus without in the external. Because if Mercury gets too active, which is again the part of our minds that wants to have everything figured out, if that gets too active, it can create confusion or doubt or uncertainty about things. And Neptune's helping us go within for the answers, and again, connect to the inner guidance and the intuition there. All right, so that's Saturday, definitely Tauran. Good for rooting ourselves in earth and the material world, even though we're reconsidering what we value in life, our relationships. And then as we go into Sunday, definitely now easing up off of all that watery energy. I mean, it's going to be easing up this weekend already because the Sun Neptune was the strongest, but certainly by Sunday, after this Mercury Neptune, easing up off of that watery, dissolving sort of nature. And Mars then does trine up to Saturn, which does give us a very good groundedness. All right, very good for productive things, very good for anything that requires responsibility, commitment, and patience. So for some of us, it might be specifically a good time for things like work that are more Saturnian related, more productive, you could say. But just anything that does require responsibility, or anything you have been taking the responsible approach with over these past couple years with Saturn. So for some of you, it might be relationships. Others, it might be your home or your health, things like this. And so anything that does require responsibility, patience, hard work, determination, I think we do have the willingness to see the big picture, to take things nice and slow, and put in that Mars energy, which is, again, the active side of ourself that wants to get things done, can get things done with the patience and long-term perspective. All right, so that's the weekend in a nutshell. I would say certainly Friday is a lot like Thursday in that we do have the active energy of Aries, good for independence and drive. And again, implementing a bit of the freedom or creating some changes and integrating these changes with freedom in our life. And as we get into Saturday, a bit of reflection on what we value in life, who we value in life. Our whole sphere of relationships is now going through this reconsideration and maybe even quite literally reworking some of these things. A bit of dreaminess with that Mercury over Neptune, but very good for spiritual activities and imagination and creative thinking. Very good for creative thinking. And then as we get into Sunday, grounded. I think all collectively, generally speaking, we've got the willingness to take things slow, to see the big picture, and take it one step at a time. All right, so I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Thank you again for all of your support, and I will see you all on Monday. Take care.